If you follow esports even casually, you have noticed something that is impossible to ignore. Korean players are everywhere, at the top of the rankings, in the finals of the biggest tournaments, coaching the best teams in the world. Games like League of Legends, StarCraft, Overwatch, and FIFA Online have all at various points been essentially dominated by players from one country with a population of about 52 million people. For context, that is smaller than England. So what is actually going on? Is it genetics? Is it culture? Is it something in the water? The answer is more interesting than any of those. Korea did not accidentally produce the best esports players in the world. Korea built a system specifically designed to do exactly that, and it started earlier than most people realize. To understand Korean esports, you have to go back to 1997. Korea was hit hard by the Asian financial crisis. Unemployment spiked. The economy collapsed almost overnight. The government, desperate to rebuild, made a decision that would have consequences nobody could have predicted. They invested heavily in national internet infrastructure. The goal was simple: build a knowledge economy, connect the country, create jobs in tech. Within a few years, Korea had some of the fastest and most widely available internet in the world. Broadband reached homes and neighborhoods that in most countries would have waited another decade, and with fast internet came PC bangs, internet cafes that opened on virtually every street corner across the country. For a few hundred Korean won per hour, anyone could sit down and play online games at speeds most of the world could not access from home. StarCraft landed in this environment like a spark in a room full of fuel. The game spread through PC bangs at a speed that was almost viral before viral was a word anyone used, and Korean players spending hours every day in these cafes competing against each other started getting very, very good. In 2000, something happened that changed everything. Korean cable television launched dedicated esports channels, OGN and MBC Game, that broadcast StarCraft matches to millions of viewers. Professional teams formed, sponsorships followed, players started earning salaries. Overnight, being good at a video game became a legitimate career path in Korea in a way it was not anywhere else on the planet. This matters more than it sounds. In most countries, even today, telling your parents you want to be a professional gamer is a conversation that ends badly. In Korea in the early 2000s, there were already role models, there were already stars, there were already players making real money, appearing on television, signing autographs. Here is where Korea separates itself from everyone else most brutally. Korean esports training is not casual. It is not a few hours a day after school. At the professional and semi-professional level, Korean players train like Olympic athletes. 10 to 14 hours of practice per day is not unusual. Teams live together in dedicated training houses. They eat together, sleep together, review replays together, and spend the majority of their waking hours doing one thing and getting better. The structure mirrors traditional Korean educational culture, which already places enormous emphasis on discipline, repetition, and competitive performance. Korea has one of the most intense academic environments in the world. Students study for brutal national exams with a seriousness that surprises people from outside the country. That same cultural intensity, that same willingness to grind, transferred almost perfectly into competitive gaming. Korean esports organizations also invested early in coaching infrastructure. Dedicated coaches, analysts, psychologists, and nutritionists became part of professional team setups long before Western esports organizations took any of that seriously. While teams elsewhere were figuring out the basics, Korean organizations were already optimizing at a level that most sports franchises would recognize. There is also a structural reason Korean players develop faster than players from most other countries, and it comes down to the ranked ladder. In games like League of Legends, the Korean server has historically been considered the hardest ranked environment in the world. The player base is denser at high ranks, the average skill level is higher, and the competition is more consistent. When a Korean player climbs to a high rank on the Korean server, they have beaten more skilled opponents more consistently than a player achieving the same rank almost anywhere else. The numbers are genuinely difficult to argue with. Korea has won the League of Legends World Championship the majority of times it has been held. Korean players and Korean-trained players have filled rosters across North America, Europe, and China for over a decade. When organizations outside Korea want to compete at the highest level, they frequently import Korean talent or hire Korean coaches. StarCraft, the game that started all of this, was dominated by Korean players so completely for so long that it became almost unremarkable. The question at major tournaments was rarely whether a Korean player would win. It was which Korean player would win. Overwatch, developed by an American company, launched its first first World Cup in 2016. Korea won it, then won it again and again and again. You might expect that as esports grew globally, the Korean advantage would shrink. Other countries would build their own infrastructure, their own training systems, their own competitive cultures, and to some extent that has happened. China has become a genuine rival at the highest levels. European players have closed gaps in several titles. The Korean monopoly on winning is not quite what it was in 2013, but the foundation Korea built, the cultural acceptance of gaming as a career, the training infrastructure, the competitive ladder, the decades of institutional knowledge, does not disappear quickly. Korea has a head start measured not in months, but in generations of players. The coaches working with Korean teams today were players who grew up in the PC Bang era. The systems they teach were refined over 20 years of serious competition. Other countries are catching up, but Korea was not standing still while they did. They just had a longer head start than most people realized, built on a financial crisis, a government infrastructure investment, and a generation of kids who happened to be in PC Bangs at exactly the right moment in history.